Hello and welcome to the Personal Podcast. Today I'm chatting to the wonderful Bianca Robinson from CEO Sleepout. The rules are no small talk, so I'm going to get straight on with my first deep question. Bianca.
Hi.
Hi. That dreaded C word, cancer, how did it feel when you were first told about it?
Oh my God, even you saying it now, it feels like an injury to my person, you know, and I don't mind talking about it, but I kind of disassociate from it. When I was told, it was like, it's a complete disbelief because I'm going about my business and I'm relatively young and I'm healthy, I eat well, I do all the right things, you know, all the right things. So it is a major shock. And it does feel like someone's kind of stabbed you in the gut and you think, how the hell can this be true? But it's actually, the cancer diagnosis that I had in 2020, it's actually the second time I've been told I had cancer. I've had a melanoma. Right. So I've got a scar here and it looked like a freckle and went through the process and it came back, yes, it's a malignant melanoma. And that's because I've grown up in New Zealand where there's no ozone layer and as ragamuffins in our youth, we were allowed to sort of run wild on beaches and things without enough sun protection.
Right.
So that was the first time, and that was 2005. And again, you just think, well, it's an anomaly. It's never gonna, you know, boom, done. But this time was really, really different. And breast cancer is a shock to any woman. Part of me thinks now that I know so many women who've gone through it, through a diagnosis and treatment and come out the other side, that the more we talk about it being, you know, part of life, the healthier that becomes. Because I think for me, you call it the C word. That's because the word cancer is so loaded.
I know, and I struggle to get it out, you know. You make
Right. It's a really, really heavy word to digest, to associate yourself with, to carry it around with you. So I kind of don't do that. But your first impression of someone being told they have breast cancer is, you know, somebody who's going to have to go through chemotherapy, perhaps have very, very drastic surgery and kind of wither away in energy and, you know, in game, they don't live a long life. So that's everybody, I think's kind of first thought when they hear that somebody's had breast cancer. But actually, it's not the reality. The majority of people with breast cancer go through a treatment plan, pop out the other side, go on to live a completely normal life for the rest of their lives.
As you're proving.
Well, long may it continue, right? But you just try and be as healthy as you can.
Definitely. So did you have to have chemotherapy?
I didn't. So I appreciate that I'm an extremely lucky one. I caught a lump very, very early and that led to a lumpectomy and radiotherapy and then ongoing treatment for hormone management, which is brutal. Not everybody can continue with it because it takes away the essence of who you are, really. And it's almost, I mean, I'm grateful to be alive. I'm grateful that there's no cancer in my body. But the hormone therapy that they want me to be on, you know, it's really hard going. It takes away, like I said, it takes the way of essence of who you are as a person, who you are as a woman.
Oh, goodness.
Because it just wrings out every last bit of estrogen in your system. So, you know, I guess it's very underappreciated, estrogen. We know we go through menopause, we lose estrogen anyway, and when it affects our bones and whatever, but I was in a cliff edge menopause. So one day I was me, and I guess I would describe me as kind of bright, articulate.
Absolutely.
You know, quit thinking enough when I have to public speak, energy to get out of bed and do what I need to do in the day, motivation, whatever, all the things. You go on this hormone therapy and suddenly all of that disappears. And it's humiliating. Apart from the fact that you're trying to sort of drag yourself around every day and get what you need to get done.
Yeah.
I was in talks because I give keynote talks and I talk to networking groups and at events and blah, blah, blah. And I was in a talk and what I needed to say just left my head.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't reach for it, and I couldn't pull it down, and I couldn't articulate anything. And I just said, I'm really sorry, guys. I'm in the menopause.
Good for you. That's what we need to say. We need to be more open about it.
I think we do, but I mean, it doesn't stop it being absolutely devastatingly humiliating.
Yeah, I've
You
been
know?
there. I'm currently breastfeeding, so my hormones are all over the place anyway, but I have endometriosis. So I get days like that as well. Before I was pregnant, like half the month is like that. Brain fog, don't really know who I am, like just in my own little world, no energy. It's hard to describe. I guess you get it. And then the other half, totally fine. And it's, I'd even get to the stage where I was planning meetings around it because I wasn't myself. I wasn't performing the way I needed to.
Yeah, well, I think that's a clever thing to do, because if you know yourself and you know your peaks and troughs and to work around it, I mean, that's, if every woman had the luxury of designing their working day around their bodily cycles, we would have a very highly productive female leadership workforce, etc.
But what's the disadvantage against men in business that don't have that to contend with? It's
among other things they don't have to contend with.
Among other things as well. I know, and it's even as a perfectly healthy female, you have your menstrual cycle, and
it can be debilitating.
Yes, it can. Many people are fine, but for some, I mean, I've always had horrendous periods and things like that, and even the stage of you need to be at the toilet more regularly, so it affects things.
Oh my God, Charlotte! I mean, I think that I have empathy with the endometriosis thing. I've had 3 surgeries for endometriosis in my lifetime, and it has caused me really, again, I've had a meeting in a hotel very much like this, with a room full of people around a boardroom table, and I've stood up to do my piece, and there's been a red, stain on the chair. Oh, goodness. And there's nothing, there's nothing you can do or say. It's just humiliating. And it's sort of wrap your jacket around yourself and back out the door. That's all you can do.
But it shouldn't be.
It shouldn't be. I know it's got to, it should change. And like I say, I think this flexible working, for people who are lucky enough to have flexible working, I think that's going to be where we see a big transformation, a big leap in women's ability to lead. And
totally, but just talking about it, again, half the population, it helps that more women are thriving in business as well. But half of us will be going through this. And
oh my God.
It's good to talk about, so there's a red stain on a chair. Yeah, there's a red stain on a chair. And that's why, I think we should. It's good to talk about things like this on this podcast as well. Because
it's brave, but it's good.
It is.
It paves the way, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I want to get to the stage maybe when our daughters are older. It's just like, I'm on my period today. I'm not myself. I've got brain fog. So it's, or they might, they won't have to describe there's a red stain on the chair. But if there is, there is. It's just the way it is.
Yeah. Just to say though, I feel very sorry for anybody who it's happened to, because I know that just the mortification of it. But yes, let's try and normalize this. I mean, I've been up against, I've had conversations with women. I had a conversation with a woman at a party, and I said what I've just said to you. I think that, if women could be more flexible around their because our bodies almost betray us in terms of our ability to focus and work on a monthly basis. And then if you've got menopause as well, it's another thing you've got to contend and manage how your body and your brain are kind of reacting to that level of hormone fluctuation or lack of hormones. And she said, absolutely not. She said, we have to compete with men, and we can't let them we can't have any, I don't think it's men seeing it, but you can't have the business world or the world you're in seeing you having special treatment or having a weakness. And I said, okay, this is what we're up against.
I can see her point, because at the same time, I never want there to be any excuses. But what I've come to the exception of more than ever since having children is that our bodies are very different. Biologically, we are different
We're
creatures.
Evolved differently for a different purpose.
Yeah, if we are judging it in the business world, we are at a disadvantage. And I think sometimes to maximise that, you've got to embrace it and, be open and honest. And hopefully that'll get more understanding from men as well.
Yeah. Well, I've got 2 daughters, as you know. They're both 23, twins. And I have said to them, why the hell are you having a period at all? So this is my thoughts. why the hell are you having a period? I said, I'm in no hurry to have grandchildren. One of my daughters is gay, so not likely to happen anyway. And I don't know if you know this, but the only reason the pill has a 7-day break is because the Pope in the 50s decreed, the Catholic Church decreed that women would feel robbed if their menstrual cycle was taken off.
I love it so much. Yeah, it really makes me feel like a woman.
Exactly.
Yeah, when I'm bleeding.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Pope, for kind of dictating to me about my own body.
Yeah, he knows a lot about bodies.
So once I read that, and the book that I read that in is Emma Barnett's.
Oh, I love her stuff.
Book.
Yeah.
I forget what it's called, but anyway, we can find that out.
Yeah.
But yeah, and so nobody needs to have a period. No woman needs to have a period unless they want to conceive.
Yeah, and it's not even a real period when you're on the pill, is it? I've heard it's not kind of the cycle. You're not ovulating properly. This isn't technical terms or science, but I heard it wasn't even like a real one anyway.
Well, whatever one it is, we could be doing without it.
Yeah, that's
I was
true.
going to make people's lives a lot easier.
Definitely. One thing though, I feel like the pill caused me more problems down the line than it solved. Again, like having artificial chemicals in your body from such a young age, and you're told, right, it's an absolute disgrace if you get pregnant, you need to be on this pill, and it's so easy to get pregnant, you must take this pill, and then you're like, right, okay, so as soon as I come off it, things are great, we're going to try and conceive and it'll happen straight away. I feel like it contributed a bit to the endometriosis as well. Might be wrong there, but I don't know, I just think it's something that's probably quite literally man-made. Why don't men take it? If it's
God, I wouldn't trust my male partner to pop a pill in the morning. I honestly wouldn't. Would you? I mean, seriously. But anyway, the option's apparently going to be there for them very, very soon.
Yeah, and it's there. They've got. I know. They're so keen on not getting us pregnant. A lot of the time, they've got more to lose. Sometimes, if you think about it.
Yeah, it's time they stepped up.
Yeah.
All the onus on the female.
Yeah.
But no, there's loads of ways. Like there's IUDs that don't release hormone, whatever, the copper coils and things like that. So there's loads of ways that they could go about it. And my position was, God, why are you putting yourself through this every single month? Yeah. And I'm coming from a place of someone whose periods have really caused them great physical pain with endometriosis every single month. So anyway, we'll see what they're their own people. They'll just do what they're going to do. But
yeah, no, it's interesting. Yeah, maybe there'll be a way where we get rid of them altogether, except for when you kind of need that cycle as well down the line as well.
Yeah, you do. You want to conceive, you do.
Yeah, but yeah, it's a whole other matter. Where we are, this is in a good way. But obviously, you're here. You got through back to that horrible word, and how did you feel when you got that news that you got the all clear?
Right, I thought, when I got the all clear, I thought, thank God. You go into the NHS, by the way, was phenomenal when I went through the process in 2020 and during COVID and everything. But the miracle was I went into hospital in the morning and I came out on the evening cancer-free.
Oh my goodness.
Well, that's it. The surgery gets rid of the cancer. So the further treatment is just to make sure there's no rogue cells kicking around or anything like that. And it's just literally, I guess it's taking a sledgehammer to it.
Yeah.
Being extra cautious. I could walk out of surgery and opt not to have radiotherapy. It's all within my gift to opt not to have any of these therapies that they're offering me. Yeah. And it's quite interesting. I think the idea of having cancer is so terrifying that a lot of people will opt for the biggest guarantee that they can get.
Okay.
And actually almost like, going through chemotherapy and things. But that sometimes they don't necessarily feel it's a decision either. If the consultant's saying this is what my recommendation is, they'll just jump at that.
Okay.
And sometimes there's more nuance actually in it. And you can actually opt for a more tailored
That's really
approach.
Interesting. And actually, again, the terrifying thought of all these horror stories about cancer, and obviously it's still horrific for you, that can put people off going in the first place and reporting that they've got a lump. So it's actually not nice to hear it, but it's better to hear that actually you were in and out in a day and a surgery got rid of it.
Radiotherapy was 5 days consecutive, so it's just bang, 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 and then it was done. So it didn't really eat into my life at all. But the only thing I'll say is that the tamoxifen, that is really, really overkill.
Is it the tablet that you're on?
Yeah, because your estrogen balance is such a finely controlled thing, and to just rob you of all estrogen, surely there's a better way.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. And what are some of the symptoms that it's giving you?
Oh, just that fatigue, that brain fog, the memory loss, muscle aches, pains, wrists and ankle joints just really, really sore. But the mental stuff really is what I worry about more so than the physical stuff. But yeah, I've had a break from it for a wee while, so I can see very clearly the difference of being totally, it's like somebody just, it's not somebody, but it's just a feeling of your bandwidth just becomes squashed down. You can't physically or mentally do what you could do before. And then it's just that bounce back to normal immediately. Because your hormones, they regulate within a few days.
So what are your options moving forward? Can you...
Don't take it again. That's my choice.
Yeah.
Go back on it, or go back on a different version of it, which I understand is causes more problems for women. But the consultant, he was so cross with me. He said, "What do you want to do?" I said, "I want to put it in the bin." And he said, "Well, look," he said, "what I can offer to remove your ovaries."
You do that phase, but...
Because ovaries are so dispensable.
Thing is, though, I think my mum had a hysterectomy at my age. She had terrible endometriosis. It got to that stage. She says it's the best thing she's ever done.
Okay.
So, you know...
Take that on board, but I'm ready for that. There's no way I'm ready for my ovaries to be, you know... And the fact that that seems so dispensable. It's like, okay, well, you know, shall I just offer to snip off your testicles?
Yeah.
With no thought to how that might, you know, how that might affect you. It's like...
Yeah, it's strange.
I just thought it was really, really bizarre that a woman's bits and pieces are superfluous to requirements, you know.
But I suppose...
They're just not...
Maybe they're not needed anymore. I don't think I'd have a massive problem with that.
I think they're not needed in terms of conception, but I think that what I need is the hormones that they're generating. I need that to be me.
Yeah, but maybe...
I need that estrogen to be...
Maybe you can find a better replacement, though. That's...
Oh, well, no, they won't let you take a replacement with breast
really?
cancer, with an E+ breast cancer.
Right, okay.
So I'm not allowed HRT or any of that stuff.
Yeah, that might be a problem then. Yeah, I can understand why. It's going back to that betraying word. My ovaries have betrayed me a lot, so I'm like, they can go.
Get rid. Yeah. And everybody's very, very different with different perspectives from different experiences that we've both had in our different lives.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah. But that brings me on to this thing about love for your body. So this whole thing, I think women grow up hating on themselves.
Totally.
Massively. And
feeling guilty.
Oh my God, my life. My boobs. I hate my boobs. I hate my boobs. They're too small. I'm never going to grow. I'm not attractive. Never even looked at my own boobs in the mirror.
Is this you personally or just
I
general?
hate me.
You.
So I hated them so much and my body so much that I never even looked at myself in the mirror.
That's really sad.
And then guess what? My boob gets cancer.
Yeah.
So I started thinking, oh my God. So yeah, you don't know what you got till it's gone, right?
Totally.
So my breast has got a massive scar and a dent. Luckily, I still have a breast.
Yeah.
Thank the Lord for that, and thank the NHS and all and me finding the lump early. I want to thank me, like Snoop Dogg. I want to thank me.
Good for you.
But now I think these breasts are amazing. They breastfed twins.
Yeah.
You know, they absolutely rock.
Yeah.
They rock.
Totally. I have love for my breasts, but I guess with all the bother down there, I've never had a lot of love for that. It's always been problematic.
Yeah.
And, you know, maybe the not loving it has caused the problems, or maybe it's the other way round. But it is an interesting perspective.
Well, it's a perspective, and it can't do any harm. And you know, we've both produced two beautiful girls
Yeah.
with our very problematic wombs that have given us years of pain and torture, really. But actually, end result, pretty decent.
But you're so right about that self-love. I mean, it sounds all fancy, doesn't it? But I hated my body after the miscarriages. I hated it. Like it was useless to me. It couldn't do what most women could do. And like, yes, I could run a business, but it couldn't do the most natural thing in the world for a woman to do. That's how I felt. And actually, I saw this crystal Reiki lady's press release about how it helped her get pregnant. And I was like, okay. So I went along. I'm open to anything, and it was amazing. Like, and I don't know how it works, but I felt this wave of forgiveness come over my body, and I'm sure I'm probably sounding total crazy here, but that helped me forgive myself and allow for things to happen naturally.
Listen, I believe it 100%. I got offered a course of Reiki by a lady who's now passed away, Elisa, and so when I was going through my cancer surgery and treatment, she gave me this Reiki, and I'm not particularly emotional. I can be emotional in terms of I can get indignant, I can get angry, I can whatever, all the things that are easy emotions to discharge, but I can't feel grief, and I can't really feel a lot of sadness.
Right.
But boy, did she put me on that Reiki table and all kind of flowed out.
Me too, yeah.
The sobs, the tears, like some unlocking of deep shit occurred. Yeah. And it just came through me like, I was like, what is going on? Just so unguarded.
Yes, same.
So I don't know what's going on there, but anyway, something is working at a deeper level.
So yeah, I'm not going to question it.
No.
It's just magic to me. So definitely a big believer in the holistic therapies out there. I mean, maybe that could help with what you're going through right now.
Yeah, so Reiki, yeah, I do. There's ones that have really helped. So acupuncture's really helped. I love a massage. Yeah. I just have to limit the amount that, because that's kind of like, it's like an addiction. I get a massage. I was thinking, shall I go down to the Blackwell Grange and see if they do massages? So that after I've had my chat with Charlotte, I can go
you could do one during if you like. I can rub your shoulders.
So yeah, it's that kind of healing touch. I really believe in.
I totally believe.
I'm okay with making sure your nutrition is balanced. But I was sent a whole load of stuff when I first was diagnosed with cancer to say, right, you need to upend your diet completely. Only go for the green up-reaching vegetables. Do a what do you call it? Not a smoothie, but where you put all the juice. Juice every day with your green leaves and your this and that and the other. Cut out all sugar because cancer feeds on sugar. Okay. And actually, if you dig into it, and I've got a scientific brain, so I will read the studies. Yeah. And I will read the kind of peer-reviewed research on stuff. Right. And if I can't find evidence, if it says there is no evidence to suggest that cancer cells feed on unrefined sugar or refined sugar, I will just go, no, it's quackery, it's bullshit. Because my particular cancer fed on estrogen. It did not feed on sugar.
But does sugar cause an estrogen spike?
No.
No. Yeah.
There's no relation. The only thing that the sugar might do is kind of knock back your immune system, but there's no evidence to suggest that sugar knocks your immune system.
And sometimes some chocolate can help lift your spirits and get you through.
Listen, whatever gets you through. Exactly. And actually, my go-to kind of therapy is whatever gets you through.
I believe that.
If you need to take a sleeping pill to get to sleep, take a sleeping pill to get to sleep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The whole placebo effect. Doesn't matter. If you feel better, then it's good.
Then it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yep.
Life's too short to be sacrificing stuff.
Totally. And I like to eat healthy as well. But yeah, you're right. You've got to have treats in there to make it all worthwhile.
Packet of wine comes a day, keeps the doctor away.
Brilliant. And has it changed your outlook on life having just been through that?
Yeah. The thing is though, that my starting point was wring the most out of life.
Of course, yeah. You're usually so optimistic and positive.
Yeah. So there's nothing new there. I think having the cancer is a wake-up call when you're young. You think, okay, now listen, it's time's now. And I think my daughters kind of got that. They were like, okay, this is now real. This can happen in life. This can happen to someone we love. And they've gone out and they're living in New Zealand and they're coming back in 2 weeks for a little. Yeah, but they're doing their thing over there, and they do have this big, full attitude to life. So so I think, oh yeah, my work here is done.
Yeah.
It's all, so cancer, yes, just reinforce that a little bit. But after the cancer, there was this period of, and I do think it was the tamoxifen, of just an inability to see a good future.
Mm-hmm.
And my best friend Jo gave me a wristband that said the best is yet to come. And I used to sort of like look at that wristband and hold on to that thought, because I used to think, I've been through this, I've survived it, but why do I not feel excited about what's next? And we were in lockdown as well, so I think that was a thought, that all the things coming together, lockdown, just apathy about life, it really did hit me. And I don't have that now, thank goodness. I've got plans in place, I've got visions, and I've got, projects and all the stuff that you would know me as having.
Definitely.
That's all kind of back. So yeah, but I mean, who knows how having cancer twice, because remember I had melanoma in 2005. That was also another thing, like,
Yeah.
so maybe I'd already been through that whole
Your body
grab
knew
life
how
by
to
the horns.
respond, and yeah. Sometimes after you've got through something, that's when your body really processes the trauma it's been through, and it kind of does then sit back and think, oh goodness me, what next? Like, and there is a bit of negativity after the positivity. It's strange.
Yeah, there's a triumph, and then there's, okay, back to reality, back to the grind, back to life, back to your day to day. The other thing I guess is really interesting about getting that diagnosis is, like, you've got to then manage the expectations of somebody, or the reaction, of the person you tell.
Yes.
So I found myself going, oh God, do I really have to tell people? Because the reaction would be so extreme. I'm talking tears and, all the things.
Yeah.
And I have to then sort of absorb
them
their,
up a bit,
absorb their kind of feelings about it. And
gonna
that's
be okay,
hard. I didn't really have it in me to kind of...
You don't think about that, but that's so
It's
true.
a big thing. And it's the same whether you've gone through one of those diagnoses, or perhaps you've lost a child and you've got to tell somebody, or you've lost a family member and you've got to almost manage their reaction.
So what's the best way someone can respond then to bad news, like, oh, I've got cancer? Because you don't think about that. And how can we help our friends?
Just that it's got to be with empathy. So it's got to be, and how are you doing? It can't be about the person receiving the news and how devastated they are to receive the news. But I think that if you can show empathy and say, look, this must be horrendous for you, I'm there for you, whatever. That's the way to do it, isn't it? But again, who knows how they're going to react in the moment? You can't.
Exactly.
You can't. It's an unknowable thing. And people who I thought were going to be dead, tough as old boots about it, were just crumbled.
Yeah. How did your daughters react?
Oh, they took the cue from me. So I was very pragmatic. I was like, right, I've got... Jo, my best friend, will say, I've never heard anything like it. She said, when you spoke to Amber and Isabel, you said, right, I've found a small lump. I'm going to have surgery on this date. And then we're going to take it from there and see what happens. And they went, oh yeah, okay, Mum. It's like the playing down of it and the pragmatism is kind of like, my friend Jo thought it was weird. But for me, that's the only way I could really, pass that information on. And it's like very pragmatic, very step by step. And then you've just, I said to them, we've just got to do the steps. But then 3 days after I had my surgery, I was putting Amber on a plane to New Zealand.
No.
In the middle of COVID.
Oh, and how are you finding that? I know they're both away at the moment. Is that a permanent
thing? They're both away. So Amber is gone, and she's gone. She landed in 2020. She's got third year of her degree this year. She's got a cracking job. She manages a restaurant on the waterfront in Wellington.
Awesome.
She's recording. She's the voice of an audiobook for a local writer.
That's amazing.
My good friend, and who you'll probably know from the network, Nicola Cook, but writing under the name Isabella Wiles.
Wow.
And her books are fantastic.
What a talent.
Yeah, she needed someone who could flip the New Zealand and the Northeast accent.
Yeah.
And so Amber got the job, and she's busy recording and editing herself at the moment. So she's got that, and she's got film acting work and short films. So her life in New Zealand is amazing. And she's been through ups and downs and trying to make new friends and losing them, things like that.
Yeah.
That happens when you're trying to
Yes.
integrate.
It's a very brave thing to do.
Yeah, really brave. And she's got resilience is what she's got. And Isabel just went over there for 3 months from November, December, and they're back in 2 weeks, just to have a slice of that, to see what she thought about it. And so they both come back in 2 weeks. Isabel will stay on. Amber will go back to finish her degree. And then I think by the end of this year, I'll have both of them gone.
Oh my God, how does that feel?
Horrendous, but also brilliant.
Yeah.
You know?
Mixed emotions.
So I feel, for me, I feel lonely. I miss them terribly. But for them, I feel proud, excited. You know, everything I could wish for my girls. See the world as a small place, accessible place. They can go and do whatever they want. They can try stuff out. They can experiment with who they are as people. All good.
Oh, that's such a
All
kind thing to do, you know.
Well, I think it's my job. I'm not a parent to parent them forever. I'm a parent to steward their entry into, you know, productive adult life.
You can't hold them back because it'll make them want to go even more.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, as a mum of 2 small little ones.
Yeah,
right
you've
now,
got all to come.
I can't imagine them flying across the other side of the world, even just for a holiday. But, you know, if they want to, you've got to let them.
And you'll find yourself saying to them, please promise me you won't grow up. Please promise me you won't get any bigger. And then, of course, and you feels like it's never going to end. And then suddenly it does, and you're sort of free again. And you think, oh my God, I've done it. Or we've done it. And I look at my relationship with them, and that's one thing I'm super, super proud of.
Sorry to interrupt, but just a quick word about our sponsor, Be Daily. I've been subscribing to the Be Daily now since starting my business. It provides relevant and informative information directly to my inbox, not just about the Northeast, but also national news. If you're interested in subscribing, we'll put the link in the description box so you can get the business news directly to your inbox. Now back to the podcast.
Again, I want to thank me. I want to thank me because my upbringing was less than idealistic.
Yeah, I wanted to ask about that actually.
Yeah, so my family I grew up in a really violent household.
Oh my goodness.
My dad would have rage attacks and throw chairs through windows and beat my mum and stuff like that. And my mum would deliberately, almost, it would seem like she would goad him into it and things. And as me and my sister were kind of, I guess, the victims in that there was no protection for us. In that we were on eggshells in case we'd set dad off the whole time, and mum was, I guess, because she was highly criticised by him, we were highly criticised by her. And there was love in the family,
right?
So it's a mixed bag.
Yeah, but that can be worse because you don't know what you're going to get.
No, but the patterns are so toxic in that family. And what I did then was, as a parent, as far as I can see, none of those patterns have been repeated.
Yeah, well done you, because it's easy to repeat them.
That's right. It's really hard to be conscious of them first of all, and then not repeat them. And I've caught myself doing that highly critical thing like that my mother does, and then having a word with myself and say, okay, I'm gonna consciously not do that again.
Yeah. So was there ever any violence directed at you and your sister?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. How did you deal with that?
Well, you see, it was kind of just our life.
You know no different.
Yeah, it was just an expectation that at some point it would happen. And you just kind of, yeah.
When did you realise that wasn't normal?
I knew it didn't happen in other families, and other families my friends were scared to come to my house and stay over and stuff like that, and my cousins were. I knew my dad wasn't normal. But I don't know. I don't know if you ever sort of consciously. It wasn't until I was an adult, and my behavioural patterns were kind of wrong, and you could see the effect that it was having on people that I loved. You know, I mean, I remember falling in love with somebody, and just behaving so badly because I didn't know how to handle what I was feeling or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was bringing patterns from my family into that. I lost that person. And it was so heartbroken. I thought, I've got to deal with this. I cannot be that person in my life. I've got to, if I am to ever have a successful relationship, I've got to be worthy of it and bring a better version of me to the table. So I think it was not until I had, because my friends all loved me, and I think I had a good personality. I was fun and engaging and all this stuff, but I did have a flip side that I don't necessarily think comes out in the way it's still there, kind of, but it's definitely under control in terms of I don't fly into rages, but I can still be hypercritical. I can still really challenge people, I think, who, especially ones I'm close to, if I disagree with them. It can be, someone said to me, oh, your words are like darts. The way you speak to me is like, it's like being attacked by darts. Okay, and that's as an adult in my 40s that I've had that feedback. So there's still things about me that I could do with polishing out, but it's a life's work, and at some point you've got to forgive yourself and like who you are. And I do. I'm at the point where I like who I am and how I behave now. But I think looking in my early 20s, late teens, I think, oh God, you were absolutely despicable. Absolutely
with good reasons, though.
And I rebuilt myself brick by brick, and I've done a lot of work on that. And there's obviously more to come. There's more to go.
Always, though.
And there's things about myself that I wouldn't, I'm ashamed of or whatever, and I would like people not to see in me.
Well, we all have that, though, I think.
But, we work on it. Yeah. Become aware, take accountability, take ownership, and try not to let it get the better of us.
Yeah. Oh, totally. I can't believe, that never comes across to me, and I would have never known that. Do you still have a relationship with your parents?
No. Well, my dad passed away in 2012, and we did love Dad a lot because he created the feminists that we are. He was like, you can just do any, he just believed in our abilities to do anything we wanted to do. He had a big worldly mindset. He was a big old character. And we loved him. He was it's a mixed bag. He's a mixed bag in his personality.
Yeah, and maybe it came from his upbringing as well.
Yeah. So that was Dad, and then Mum. It's been a lot more fraught, my relationship with her, because the pattern just kind of ignites when I'm in her company, and I think she sees me as a really naughty 13-year-old, unmanageable 13-year-old, and she can't. It's almost like she can't look into me and see who I am now. And recently, a few years ago, she said, oh, Bianca, she said, I've never been able to understand how you've attracted such lovely friends.
Oh, my goodness. What a thing for a mother to say. That's just...
And it's horrible, isn't it? It's because, and that just tells me, you can't see me. You can't look at me and see who I am. You're just looking at me and projecting something onto me that face doesn't fit anymore.
How did you even answer her when she said that?
I don't know. I don't know. Just shell-shocked.
I'm surprised you still speak.
I think I probably just rolled my eyes, because sometimes you just got to let it off, back and not let her think that she's got to you.
13 still, so yeah, in her eyes.
Yeah, I mean, it is really, there's lots of things, but again, I love my mum. And I'm proud of what she's achieved as a single. She's been single since I was 13. And she has really sort of carved out an amazing life. She's just sold her beautiful homestead with 40 acres of land and everything. And
is this in New Zealand?
In New Zealand and Canterbury. And, that was where I brought the babies home to when they were first born in Christchurch, up to Springbank. And Amber and Isabel have just been there to kind of help her pack up and spend Christmas there. And I was absolutely gutted that I couldn't be there with the family. And so, yeah, Mum's kind of a role model as well in her own way. She was holding down 2 jobs when I was 13 and Tony was 12. She was also doing a double degree at uni at that time.
Wow.
So she really put the effort in to kind of, again, demonstrate that life's not easy, but you can make it what you want it to be. She bought Springbank with her own money.
Yeah, good for her.
Yeah.
And did you think coming to the UK was a little bit wanting to escape from that childhood?
Oh, definitely. I mean, I always say it's kind of no coincidence that I'm on, if you went on the globe and you looked exactly at the furthest point from where my mother is, there's probably no secret as to, we're quite happy to exist with that distance. But we speak every day on a chat.
Every day?
Yeah, family
Wow.
chat. There's like a chat that goes forth. I mean, it's not, hi mum, how are you every day, but it's just banter between the family.
Yeah.
Which is fine. It just keeps that connection there, and it makes her feel like she's not completely rejected by me. And yeah, it just keeps the family, because something about the family now is it's kind of more loyal to we're kind of more loyal to each other than we perhaps were 20 years ago now.
Yeah, because you've been through hardships.
Yeah,
together,
but
maybe.
nothing's really been like, I can't sit down and have that chat with mum.
Right. Do you
I'm just
want
never
to?
going to. No,
You're never
I'm going to let it go and just let it go.
Do you forgive her?
I sometimes think I have, and then sometimes I start talking to somebody about it and start getting really infuriated again, because it's a trigger. It's definitely a trigger.
Yeah.
You
And
know?
it's so intertwined into who you are.
So then I look at the relationship I've got with the girls, and they phone me twice a week on FaceTime. They're just cute. They tell me real intimate stuff about their lives.
Oh, that's lovely. But I bet you're such a
It's
cool
just
mum.
so cute.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if I am, but anyway, they seem to want to share with me, and I'm just so grateful for that.
Yeah. Would you ever move back to New Zealand, say they stay over there?
I might do. So obviously this year has had a big impact on me not having them in the house, being on my own in the house, because Isabel still lived with me, well, she will come back and live with me, and yeah, gosh, it's really, that New Zealand is my birth country, my home, but Saltburn's also my home, and the roots I've put down are really, really solid in Saltburn.
And the
friendships, the support. When I had cancer, you really see that cradling of you by the people who love you. That really, really happened, and it's a really special thing.
Yeah.
And so to kind of up and leave Saltburn would be particularly difficult, because I've got friends that I've maintained throughout my life that are still in New Zealand, and I think I could kind of step back in, but I would feel a bit like an imposter and intruder on their circles, their dynamics that they've already got. And work-wise, I mean, I'm really proud of the kind of network I've built, the reputation I've built. To walk away from that, again, for me, because work's a lot of my identity is wrapped up in my work, and to walk away from that,
that's a big deal.
Would be a big deal.
But if that's where your heart is.
Living in New Zealand is a special thing.
I mean,
I'm not just saying it because I'm a Kiwi.
No, you're not.
It's an amazing
I've
place.
been there once for 2 weeks. My friends moved out there just for a bit, and then they came back, and it's amazing. I loved it.
Yeah, and the lifestyle's completely different. The mindset's completely different.
Yes.
I think it's a healthier lifestyle.
Yeah, I agree. From my brief encounter there, but it was wonderful.
So anyway, we'll see what the future brings. I think there's what I've learned is to be not as prescriptive about my goals. It's to say, well, how would I want to feel? I want to feel joy. I want to feel ease in my life. I want things to flow to me. I want to have laughter.
Yeah.
I want to have sunshine. I want to have freedom to travel. All of these things without being prescriptive. Oh, I want a white house with a red roof and
Yeah, you're right. Because often we set our goals based on an objective, and then you hope the feeling will follow that. Whereas if you set it based on the feeling, and then it doesn't matter what comes, because as long as you're feeling happy or fulfilled and loved.
Exactly. And the other thing I've learned is to go quite general with the feeling.
Okay. Yeah.
So
It's good.
Joy,
Feel good.
laughter, feel good.
Yeah.
Don't want to feel oppressed. Don't want to feel restricted, but I do want to feel free and open, and that life flows to me.
Yeah, and without sounding too hippie-ish, almost just letting that guide your path.
Yeah. Yeah. Does that feel good? Yes. Does that feel... Just gonna leave that.
And sometimes, we get these feelings of unease before making a decision, but we think, it's the right thing to do, or everyone's doing that. This is what someone said I should do. And you ignore your feelings.
Or people are watching me and judging what I do.
Yeah.
That's the worst.
More often than not, But it's about learning to embrace your feelings and use them as a guide.
Yeah, and I think every time... So my mum manifested Springbank, the house that she's just sold, right?
Yeah.
So she got her heart set on this house, kept a photo of it from the newspaper clipping in her wallet for many, many years before it came up for sale. I don't know how much time we've got, but maybe I'll just give you it's an amazing story.
Yeah, no, I like
So
it.
it's probably 16, I've fallen in love with this house, and you know, it's where I was born, and one day I'm gonna own this house. And we were like, you know, you can see the eyes literally rolling in the back of our heads. And she was single, and she started dating this fellow called Graham, and they went down. She showed him this house, and he said, "Well, I'm prepared to buy it if you'll come and, you know, live with me, and we can do that together." But he put a prenup in front of her.
Oh, yeah.
So she looked at this prenup and thought, well, actually, it's, you know, if something happens to Graham, it doesn't come to me. She doesn't get the house. So she thought, well, if I put blood, sweat, tears, and energy into beautifying it and making it really special, and at the end of it, none of it comes to me. She said, I don't think that was fair. So she sat on it, and anyway, they must have reached in some sort of impasse. And then I think 3 months later, she said, right, I'm just going to go and he'd bought the place by that stage. She said, I'm going to Christchurch. I'm going to go and check on Springbank and Graham. Anyway, she went there, and a woman answered the door.
Oh, goodness.
She said, who are you? She said, I'm Graham's fiance.
Oh.
So at this point, Mum's missed the boat. And she came home completely heartbroken. I've never seen anything like it. I mean, she stayed in bed for about a month. But I don't think she was heartbroken about the man.
The house.
I might be doing her a disservice there. Aww. But anyway, next thing that happens, and it's only about 2 years later, he passed away. Diabetic.
Your mum.
He's diabetic. No, he literally passes away.
Obviously, it's not funny, but yeah.
And next thing you know, the wife has been shunted out to a breeze block shed 10 miles up the road. I'm not kidding you. She'd signed the prenup. Anyway, the house went to his family trust, and the beneficiaries of the trustees wanted to sell. They wanted to get rid of the house, so it went to. In New Zealand, you have a closed tender process where you put your bid in a closed envelope, and they have to accept the highest.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, I'm just going to stick a bid in. You know, she scraped together whatever assets she could to make this bid and put this bid in. And the first person was accepted, wasn't Mum, and whatever, it fell through. The second person was accepted, went to visit the property, and the springs that supply the fresh water had dried up just on a kind of off chance. And they came back again, you know, the next day. But because they dried up on the day they were visiting the property, they thought,
that's crazy.
We can't do it. So they dropped out. So they had to accept Mum's offer, which was about half the market value. So she got this amazing place in her sole name. She'd manifested it.
Yeah, because I'm always in two minds about manifestation. Like, do I believe in it? Is it real?
Well, you've got to follow the signs. But then here's where it's like, be careful what you manifest, because if you go too general, then she's beholden. So for 25 years she's lived in that property. She has never had a penny to spend because it's all gone into the property. So all her money was in this fixed asset. She's actually had a really stressful, she's kind of lived a life that's been really, really tough on her. The Canterbury earthquake came. She had loads of issues with getting insurance money enough to make the house fit for living. And again, I think she's really had a stressful time. I think she's loved being there and beautifying the house and whatever. But it is like, be careful what you manifest, because
so true.
It's what's served up on the side, you know, of that manifestation.
Yeah,
it was a good story.
It does make you think it's a total good story. Yeah. Changing the subject slightly, because I think you're quite a musical person. Is that right?
I love music. I never got to the stage where I was accomplished at music.
Okay.
So I did a few piano lessons and a few fights with my mum trying to make me practice, and then, you know, I thought, I sod this. And,
I have been there.
Flounced out.
Yeah.
You know? So yes, I love it. No, I'm not good at it. But any chance, I'll smash out something on a guitar badly, or the keyboard badly. I'll sing badly. Whatever anyone wants me to do, I'll kind of jump on and have a crack at it.
Yeah.
And I was in a band for 4 years, I think, between 2002 and 2006, and that was brilliant. I mean, that was amazing fun. Again, it was like we used to rehearse on a Tuesday or Thursday for 3 hours a night every week, and then do gigs Friday, Saturday. We got a little name for ourselves in the Northeast. Brilliant. We were called Elba, and then we were called the Killer Heels. And we did. We played the Lead Mill in Sheffield. We played some cool venues. We got on some radio shows, but we never got signed. And I think by the time 2006 rolled around, I was just like too old, too jaded. I think we got knocked back because of my age from one record company.
Which is ridiculous. You know.
Yeah, but we had loads of fun.
Yeah.
We had loads of fun. And my daughters are now, listen, there's no comparison. They are, Isabel's, what I would say, really accomplished on the guitar. Both of them can sing, both of them can play guitar. Amber rolled out a keyboard at her college end of year show where they all did songs from shows and, all of this kind of stuff at Pride Club.
Yeah.
Then the lights went down and someone's pushing this massive piano out into the middle of the stage. We thought, what's coming up next? Me and her dad were sitting in the audience. Next, the spotlight comes on, it's Amber. This is somebody who doesn't play the piano in the house or anything like that. And she bust out James Blake's Retrograde, singing and playing.
Amazing.
Under a spotlight.
Amazing.
We were like, oh,
we're so proud.
Oh, child. It's like not a single piano lesson, nothing.
Yeah.
So there's some gift that has been passed down to them.
Definitely, that's amazing. Do you enjoy listening to music?
Yeah.
Yeah, I see you go to gigs quite a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, that's my church. That's my therapy.
It's funny that you mentioned that because we had the whole discussion in a previous one about is God a DJ, and we came to the
I
conclusion
think
that he was.
100%.
Yeah, definitely.
She was.
She was. That is the best way. That is absolutely spot on. Thank you, Bianca.
Yeah.
Out of all the songs, are there any lyrics of certain songs that are really pertinent to you?
Ooh, gosh, all the time. But I mean, all the time. And so whatever I'm singing to myself, recently it's No More Tears by Barbara Streisand and Donna Summer.
Yeah,
Enough is enough.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, hey, that's where I'm at right now. But yeah, there's all the time. I revisited Everything But the Girls album from the 90s.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I didn't listen to the album, but that Missing song was amazing.
Every single song on that she's written, and I could have lived through the kind of scenes.
Yeah. Was she from this region as well?
From Hull.
Ah, yeah, nearby.
Hull. And, it was so, at the time, it spoke to a situation that I was going through so perfectly. And if I listen to it back, it's like I've sort of put myself back in that time.
Yes,
I mean, it's absolutely amazing. And then you've got Maximo Park, who I absolutely love going to see live because they're just the energy. But Paul Smith's lyrics are so resonant of what it's like to live here in the Northeast.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just think, God, he's just got it nailed.
Yeah, it's like poetry, isn't it? I always have this, not an argument, but Chris, he loves the music for the music's sake. I'm like, do you listen to the lyrics? What did you think about that? I don't listen to the lyrics. It's like, what?
No. So for me, it all has to click in and tell a story. And I have to be able to see the story in my head.
Yes, and getting an album to listen to the story. And I love it when it flows, when, that doesn't always happen. But, the lyrics, it's the story of the song.
The story, yeah. So my favourite artist is Janelle Monáe at the moment. And she's just been in Glass Onion, Knives Out, as the main character, and she's all round kind of my artistic hero. And every single thing she does, everything, doesn't matter whether she's telling the story as a character in a movie or in a song, or she's written a book as well, so in a novel, she is talking about the struggles of somebody who's been pushed to the margins of society. So if you're LGBTQ, or if you're experiencing issues because of your race, or if you're just anyone who feels that they're othered. She wants to tell those stories. And then if you look at her body of work, they do tell those stories. And I remember in about 2013, I saw her on Jules Holland for the first time, and I was like, holy moly, this chick is like, she's got it all. I mean, she is a bit of James Brown, she's a bit of, Stevie Wonder, there's a bit of so many kind of other things mixed up in her, but the story she was telling was really, really important because she was talking about, I'm proud to be queer, I think is what I was hearing.
Yeah, good.
And I knew that Isabel was in a position where she may or may not come out in the near future. So what I did was we actually used Janelle Monáe's music to kind of create that space. This is the type of people we admire in this house.
That is wonderful.
And we all fell in love with the music. And Amber was like, oh, Mum, you've got to listen to the Arcandroid. It's a story about an android that is scheduled for disassembly and has to run from, whatever, the droid patrol, and then comes back to kind of save the race of droids. I was like, oh, my goodness. But it's all done in this really beautifully musical
and
storytelling way.
And imagine how many people it's helped as well.
I've just felt comforted that they're not alone, and they're not the only ones, and there are people going through what they're going through. Yeah, absolutely. So that's a long answer to.
Oh no, but it's a good answer. And I know you mentioned another kind of word there that's used more frequently than, it's a totally new word, that othered word. Another word that we hear a lot at the minute is that woke word.
Yeah,
I have struggled kind of defining that. Could you define it, and would you describe yourself as woke?
Yes, I would describe myself as woke, but what it really means is if you've got progressive values, if you value equality, if you value the arc of progress, as it's, from the last 500 years onwards, if you value a kind of a better, more thriving society as a whole, if you're looking after, if you're concerned about if you're concerned about society rather than just your personal gain and your personal place in it, then I think that, that's where. But I think the kind of hard right or the right wing people, commentators, pundits, your Jeremy Clarksons and your Piers Morgans and people like that, have done a real number on progressive thinking people by taking that word woke and turning it into a derogatory, what would you call it, a slur.
Yeah, because all the way you've described that, I totally believe in that, but then woke now has this quite negative connotation because of that. You kind of say, I don't know if I should be woke.
And it's really clever because they've taken ownership of that word and now hurled it, used it, weaponized it.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of things that you'll see being snowflakes weaponized. There's a lot of buzzwords that have been weaponized in order to make people with really legitimate progressive views seem like they should be put down.
Yeah.
And it's not. It's just a case of how do I deal with it? Because I am. I own that I am woke. I don't think there's anything to be ashamed of by being a progressive thinking person and wanting to fight for equality and a better society, and actually wanting the greater good rather than just I'm all right.
Yeah, I'm all right.
Jack.
Everything's all right.
Everything's all right. Yeah. So I think it's a shame, but also there's some sinister around the way people use the word woke as that kind of derogatory slang, because it came up from Black American
That's when
slang.
I first started hearing it, yeah.
So,
from the Black Lives Matter movement.
For white, gammony, raggy pundits to turn it round and sling it back at people, it's kind of, I don't know, this feels
racist.
Really nasty about, taking ownership from a word that came up through the kind of...
Like turning their own words against them.
Yes.
Demonising it.
Yes.
Yeah, so kind of demonising that word and turning it against them. We kind of touched a bit on your past. If there is one thing you could go back and change about your life, what would it be?
There's so many kind of forks in the road, and the honest answer is I wouldn't change any of it. I've not had an easy life. I have not had life offer me a really smooth path. And I pass that on to my kids as a don't be expecting. You're going to get curveballs left, right, and centre, and you've got to have the resilience and the kind of wherewithal and the grit to get through.
It's cruel to prepare them for anything other than that, because then they won't be prepared.
Yeah, and I think there are lots of kids that aren't prepared.
Especially now. I know you used that term snowflake earlier. Yes, again, it's one of those words that's not the nicest, but I think there's a resilience problem.
There's a resilience, and there's a mollycoddling. There's a generation of mollycoddled young people who who believe that they're entitled to whatever they demand
without working for it.
Yeah. But anyway, that's another big contentious discussion. But no, in my life, the turning point would be, did I leave New Zealand at the right time? I can't say I'll have any regrets about that. I can't regret falling pregnant with twins early. I can't regret who I married. I can't regret who I went into a relationship with. All of that led me to bigger and better and, things that I would never give up for wouldn't trade for the world. There was one time, though, when I was in New York, and my friend was nannying for one of the big families in New York, and they were called the Overbecks. And the Overbecks were best friends with Caroline and John Kennedy Jr.
Wow.
And Christian Overbeck, the husband, had been best man at their wedding, and I was staying in their house, right? And I had 4 boys. And Lizzie Overbeck, the mum, she sort of said to me, Bianca, we would like you to nanny for us when Charlotte goes. And she said, and further than that, she said, I can put you in front of some modelling agencies. I can put you in front of Ford, and I can, we can talk to the magazine that John runs, which was called George, things like that. And so I rang up my mum, and she said, oh no, she said, that you've heard about the nanny that's going to jail for killing the child. What if something happens to the children, and they're too powerful, and they could crush you, and they could destroy your life? And the other concern she had was, and if you do the modelling, you could be walking the streets, and you could be on a corner of Times Square, and you could be
all the
having
terrible
to do
things.
all the terrible things. You could get into drugs and all the terrible things. So she kind of like, not blaming mum, but she gave me a perspective that I hadn't really been expecting. But plus, the other thing in the mix, and this was the biggest thing, was that I lacked so much self-confidence that I did not dare. The thought of fronting up to these modelling agencies gave me deep anxiety, like deep fear, like almost panic. Oh, I can't do it. So Lizzie Overbeck said, well, no, we'll just leave you pictures on the doorstep if you want. And I think she would have made a call kind of behind the scenes type of thing. And I was like, no. Anyway, so I came back to her and declined.
No, I mean...
And I went to London. And I was a nanny in London for just a kind of a really beautiful family, but nowhere near with the power but this family had.
That modelling career, though, because you are stunning, and clearly this lady could see it, otherwise she wouldn't just say to anyone, you can be a model.
Well, I'd done a bit, and I'd done a bit in New Zealand, and I'd been in the kind of a finalist in the Face of 95 in New Zealand, and I was with agencies, but I'd also had really bad experiences. I'd lost a lot of money when an agency folded.
Okay.
And it wasn't a career that fostered your inner confidence.
That's true. Yeah.
So you do, just by the nature of doing modelling, become very insecure because it's competitive. You're always competing on your looks. It's not a great pathway.
That's true.
And so I was left in the aftermath of that thinking, I can't do that again. Can't be sitting all day being rejected all day. I didn't have the resilience at that age.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's one thing where I probably could have made another decision, had a fabulous and interesting life, but we'll never know.
That's just life, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
But, yeah, you could have certainly been an amazing, fabulous model, challenging Kate Moss. Imagine if you were in Kate Moss's shoes now. But, it's true. But would you be happier? That's
I don't know.
the bottom line. And would you have your fabulous girls if you'd taken that route?
No, I don't know. Yeah,
You might have had other children, but
yeah, who knows?
crazy.
Yeah.
I used to regret certain things, but now I've got my children, I can't regret anything because I wouldn't change that for the world, and that's all led me to the path of creating them.
Yeah, so that you just have to have an element of trust.
Yeah, totally. And yeah, but that's amazing story linked to the Kennedys. All right, probably time for one more question. Was there any that I haven't asked you yet that you'd like to answer?
No, I can't think. No.
Okay. What values are most important to you?
So I think for me, the value of freedom to make choices in your life is at the top. So it's not just freedom, but it's freedom to make the choices that you think are best for you at any given point of time. And that in that goes with freedom over what happens to your body, freedom to how you choose to spend the hours in your day, all the things, financial freedom, all the things. And then second to that, so I guess this leads more into what I do in my work life, but it's advocating for that equality of opportunities for everybody. I don't think everybody should be guaranteed a cushy life. No way. But I think that everybody, no matter who you are, how much poverty you're from, what race you are, whatever, whether you have a disability, what gender you are, whatever, you should have access to the same opportunities to make it in life if you so wish to. And that's, I think, where the big problem is, because we just haven't got access to opportunities. And it wasn't until I came to live in Teesside that I even noticed.
Yeah. No, that's a wonderful answer. So before we end on that one, we have a regular feature that we're going to end with, which is a series of 10 questions. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the worst, 10 being the best, how would you rate yourself at the following? Number 1, we've kind of touched on this. I'd probably score you highly based on my answer. How good looking are you?
See, I'm okay with myself. I'm happy with myself, but I don't consider myself a great beauty or anything like that.
Yeah,
so scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to say, I think a 7.
Oh, you're crazy. You're much harder than that.
Thank you.
I'm biggest fan. How funny are you?
Yeah, I think I'm about a 6. I think I'm hilarious sometimes, but I'm not a natural comedian, and I really admire people who are. So I can make people smile, I make them laugh, but I think I'm a 6.
Okay. How good are you at cooking?
Much better than I was 10 years ago. I invested my time and energy into cooking, and I think my people who've had my food would think, yeah, she's decent. So I'm saying 8.
Wow. How good a singer are you?
Okay, again, it's something I love to do more than something I'm talented at. I'm going to say 7. But sometimes in my head, I love to imagine that I'm at 10. So when I'm singing to myself around the house, I'm definitely a 10.
That's good. I'll take a 10. How good are you at drinking alcohol?
2. I'm terrible. I'm literally no. I sometimes can't trust my. I don't like not being in control.
Right.
But I do like drinking alcohol. So if I start drinking wine, I can actually be quite shit-faced really quickly.
Oh, me too.
And then at that point, I'm thinking I could just say anything to anyone at this point. I never lose full control because it's not the type of person that I am. And my dad was, so there's like a, the conscious.
Yeah.
But I did stop drinking altogether in 2020.
I think I did as well.
That was great.
2020.
That was really great.
Do you drink since?
I do.
Or, yeah.
Not excessively though anymore.
Yeah. It's about breaking the cycle, isn't
it?
Again, this is quite a controversial question, but how good at parenting are you?
Okay.
It's hard to judge, hard to score.
Yeah, I'm going to give myself an 8. However, when my girls were 15 or 14 and I sort of had a chat with Amber and I said, I'm thinking one day I might foster. And she went, Mum. I went, what? And she went, Mum. And I went, what? And she went, do you really think that you've got the parenting skills to be able to foster a child?
Oh, that's brilliant. Classic.
So that that idea went in the bin. So it depends who you ask on that one.
Oh, I love that. How good a friend are you?
I'm a good friend. I think I'm a loyal friend. So I give myself an 8 on loyalty and I'll give myself a 2 on actual communication. How about that? But they know I love them.
Yeah.
So hopefully that's enough.
Brilliant. I'm sure it is. Intelligence?
So I think I'm reasonably intelligent. I'm going to say a 7, but there are many, many people in my close circle who are very clearly streets ahead where I am in the intelligence state. So I know I can sort of see my place in that kind of cascade of level.
Yeah.
Like Nicola Cook, who I was telling you
Yeah.
about. You have a conversation with her, and her brain's running rings around me the whole. Same with Claire Preston. There's loads of people in my circle who I really think, God, if only my brain worked that quickly.
But intelligence,
what I could do.
It's so subjective again, because you can be intelligent at so many different assets of life, and
different intelligences, and there's common sense intelligence, and there's just basic survival intelligence, and all the things.
Yeah.
I think I'm a good all-rounder.
Excellent. Good stuff. Kindness.
Yeah, I've learned that in my life, because that was not a value that was evident necessarily in my upbringing. So much better at kindness. Even my best friends will say I'm not the go-to person if they want really deep, if they want me to get into the deep empathy with them, and if they've really got something to kind of that they need to share with somebody, I'm perhaps not the person.
Yeah, we just say, oh.
I'm not just and I feel the pain and everything, but it's like I'm just more pragmatic.
Yes.
About stuff.
Mm-hmm. But you need a bit of that in your life as well.
Yeah, I guess so. But kindness is a different thing, and I believe in small kindnesses. And actually, if you were to ask me what love is, I would actually say it's the visible demonstration, which is the kindnesses. Mm-hmm. So I do think that kindness, and it's okay. What am I rating myself? I'd say 6.
Okay.
Definitely not in the negative.
Okay. And final one is, how good at sex are you?
Amazing. I'm off the chart.
Off the charts. Okay.
Yeah, like Madonna, I'd give her a run for money.
Brilliant. Well, let's leave it there then. Watch out, Madonna. No, thank you so much. I know some of those questions are deeply personal, and thank you for your honesty.
Yeah.
It's been a journey for you.
Yeah, and it's not often I get to sort of
offload,
talk about that stuff.
Yeah.
So, all good. Thank you for having me.
No worries.